This video will introduce you to the three major functions of the pharmacy module: managing drug information with the drug master, reviewing medication orders, and dispensing medications. Usually, you'll want to customize the shortcut bar like I've done here, with links to the dialogues you use most frequently. For this video, I'll show you how to access the dialogues from the main menu, so you're familiar with opening them that way as well. We'll start by taking a look at the drug master. You can find it in the main menu under Pharmacy. The drug master stores clinical information about the drugs used at a facility. These drug definitions are the core concept in the pharmacy. Nearly everything we do in the pharmacy module will interact with them in one way or another. These definitions are imported from FDB during the initial setup of the pharmacy and should be routinely updated. So let's take a look at the tools and information that are available in this dialog. In the toolbar, we're able to search for specific information and filter the list by criteria that you choose. Right below the toolbar, we have entries in the drug master displayed as a table. Highlighting a row in this table will display the details of that entry in the section below. The set of buttons below that let you manage information about the drug that may be specific to your facility. Finally, the bottom section allows you to search the FDB database directly. Let's take a closer look at the features available in each of these sections. In addition to the standard buttons for creating and editing entries, the toolbar for the drug master is designed to make the information you need easy to find. For example, I can search for any drug with a description that contains the word morphine, and then use the search buttons to move to the relevant entries in the table below by either going to the next entry or back to the previous one. If you use a barcode scanner, I can share a tip that'll save you a lot of typing here. Notice that you can search by both NDC and unformatted NDC. The unformatted option allows you to search for NDC codes without using hyphens. That allows you to take input straight from the barcode scanner. You'll also notice this information button on the toolbar. Clicking that opens a web page from Medline Plus with a detailed description of the highlighted drug. The built-in filters are another way you can find drugs that meet particular criteria. For example, if you want to find all of the analgesic narcotics that can be administered by injection, you can select those options from the drug category and route. A handy shortcut here is to type the first letter and then scroll to the option you're looking for. Clicking on the red check applies the filters to the table below. To look at the next section of this dialog, I'll select the drug I want to review and switch to edit mode. The names, description, and Rx norm are all imported from First Databank. Usually the DEA schedule is also part of that, but I see it's missing here. So I'll go ahead and update that. We also haven't assigned an ICD code to this drug. This information is optional, but can make billing easier if it's included. To add that, I'll go ahead and click the three-dot button, enter the ICD-10 code that I want to include. I'll do R52 for unspecified pain here. Check that, and close the dialog. For medications that can be administered by multiple routes, I can add those here. And if there's more than one route, we can choose which one will be the default. That will determine what route is initially selected when the drug is ordered, but it can be changed by the provider when it's prescribed. The item assignment ties this drug definition to an item definition in materials management. This is what allows the inventory to be updated when a drug is administered. The user-defined conversion allows you to change the quantity and unit of measure if you have a need for that. The right-hand column provides metadata about the drug, as well as several options that determine how VersaSuite will display it. I'll go ahead and flag this as generic and save the changes. Now, this next row of buttons allows the pharmacist to accept or reject drug definitions, review the approval history, and add information about interactions, label warnings, and what sites use the drug. Now, changes to the drug information have been made. When I check the approval history for the drug, I see that it's pending reapproval. If I reject those changes, then I have the option to make the drug inactive. I'll go ahead and click yes, and notice that the drug is now no longer in the list above. That's because the filter is set to only display active drugs. If I change that to inactive and apply the filter, there it is. Now, let's say I've changed my mind and want to accept the definition. I'll click accept, and VersaSuite reminds me that I need to activate the drug before I can accept the definition. So I'll do that. Just edit, check active, and update. Now I can accept the definition, sign off on it, and check the approval history again to see that it's now approved. While we're here, let me show you another nice way that VersaSuite helps prevent mistakes. If I try to edit this drug and make it inactive, when I try to save it, I'll get an alert letting me know that to do so will have an effect on some existing order definitions, and it'll ask me what I want to do. I'll just cancel that and close edit mode. Here, we're able to define our own drug interactions and add our own label warnings. And now to the last section. If we have more than one site, we can decide where this drug is available. For example, it may be in use at the hospital, but not at our outpatient clinics. Finally, at the bottom of our screen, we have a tool to search the First Data Bank database. We can review the information that's available, and right-clicking lets us import the drug information with or without the NDC. I'll go ahead and approve that. Select the packaging that I want. Click Import and take a look at the results. And finish that process up. In addition to the main display, we have convenient access to several more tools from the Pancake menu. I'll touch on the ones that are particularly useful. The top section is used to integrate with the Materials Management module. You can assign a drug to an existing item definition, create a completely new item definition for the drug, and search the item definitions. The second section allows users to add and edit more information that's closely related to the drug master, including the list of antimicrobial agents and the definitions of compound drugs and IV mixes. The third section provides quick access to the order definitions in the CPOE. In the fourth section, we have tools for managing the drug list. In addition to populating the drug master, the import tool also creates related items in the Materials Management module, saving a huge amount of time during the initial setup. In the fifth section, we have the ability to print labels. And finally, in the last section, we have options to update specific information from the FDB database. That wraps up our overview of the Drug Master dialog. With the information we covered, you should have a basic understanding of how to review and update information about the drugs used at your facility. Once your initial drug list has been set up, you'll probably spend the bulk of your time using the pharmacy review and medication dispensing dialogues. We'll take a look at those in the next section. The The Pharmacy Review dialog can be accessed from the main menu bar by choosing Pharmacy and Pharmacy Review. Let's take a look first at the organization of this dialog. It's just a little bit different than some of the other dialogs we have in Versus Suite, but the same basic design principles are at play. When you look at the top section here, you'll see the toolbar with some familiar buttons and some that are specialized for the pharmacy review process. We have these common controls that give you the ability to move forward and backward through our list of results, the ability to search for specific patients, filter by status, whether or not the medication is a base, and the date range. The green binoculars here allow you to check the availability of the item and where the inventory is located. The pharmacy review history can be opened from this button to review the history of any medications that have already been processed. The green information button provides a link to detailed information about the drug. The printer button allows you to select and print predefined labels or drug information sheets. And the pancake button gives us easy access to the dialogues for dispensing compound medications, simple inpatient medications, and IV mixes. The feature you probably noticed right off the bat is that we have this sidebar with patient information, including the patient's picture, name, vitals, and a list of known allergies. We give this information a prominent position so that the essential information you need to make decisions is always easy to review. In the main body of the dialog, we have a list of the prescriptions that currently need to be reviewed. By default, it'll show prescriptions for all patients, but if you want to focus on one patient at a time, you can change that in the toolbar. Clicking on any particular item in that list displays the details of the prescription in the sections below. Right-clicking on an entry gives you the option to review a detailed history of the patient's allergies, problems, and medical history. Down here we have the patient's name, whether or not the prescription has been processed, and this checkbox flags whether or not it's a patient's own medication that they brought from home, so we know if they already have their own supply or if we need to dispense it from the pharmacy inventory. Here we have any override notes that may have been included when the order was created, and below that we can see information about the prescription, including the name of the order, the name of the medication, indications for the drug, along with dose, frequency, quantity, and route. We also have the pregnancy category, if you still use that, and the SIG, which can be modified when the order is placed, so ordering providers can modify instructions that they feel are appropriate. The date of the first dose defaults to the current date. If it's a medication that should be delayed until a future date, that can be set here. If it's a medication that was administered without a pharmacy review, the field will be set to that time and locked. We also have the source of the order, the name of the ordering provider, and any notes that they included in the order. Finally, here we do have a space for pharmacy notes. You'll notice that unlike the gray fields that only display information, this field is white to show that you can enter information. The pharmacy notes are displayed with notes from the ordering provider when the drug is administered. In the next section, the patient profile, we have information about other medication orders for the patient. Double-clicking on any of these will open the patient's medication history to that specific order. Finally, at the bottom, we have two rows of buttons. The top row provides access to more detailed information that may be important when reviewing the prescription. The bottom row includes the action buttons that allow the pharmacist to complete the review process. If everything looks good, we can accept the highlighted medication. Versus Suite will display an alert if it identifies any relevant warnings about food or drug interactions. I'll select a reason to override this warning and sign off on the override. Notice that the order status changes in our list. It's checked as processed, and the next row is automatically selected. We can also log an intervention. I'll click Create, choose an intervention type, and select a canned note. Both the intervention type and the canned notes can be defined based on the process and expectations at your facility. We can also put the order on hold. When we do that, we're prompted to decide how long to place the order on hold and enter a note. We can either choose a specific date and time or enter a length of time, and the date will be calculated automatically. Notice when we do this, the review list changes. Our next option is to discontinue the order. When we do that, we're prompted to enter a reason, SNOMED code, and note, and sign off on it. Since that's the last prescription for this patient, let's select our next patient and take a look at replacing an order. That allows the pharmacist to replace an existing order with one that's been updated. Details of when and how the drug is administered can be changed, but not the medication or its strength. With that order replaced, I'm happy with how things look for this patient, so I'll accept these prescriptions and double check my queue to see if there's anything else that needs my attention. I'll go ahead and choose all patients and apply. When I refresh the table, the prescriptions that I've processed will be cleared from the list. What we see here is the order that we placed on hold earlier still needs to be processed. Let's take a look at the current hold status. We can see how long the order will remain on hold here. At the end of that time, the order will become active again automatically. To change that, I can click Edit and either extend the hold by adding more time, or I can click to remove the hold immediately. Now we can see the hold history. Also, the button to accept the order is active again. I'll click that. And with that done, I'll refresh the queue one more time and see that we've completed the pharmacy review for now. That brings us to the final step in this demonstration, dispensing the medications. We have the familiar controls in the toolbar to navigate and filter items in your queue, and buttons to check the inventory and pharmacy review history. Unlike many of the dialogues in Versus Suite, there's no need to put this one in edit mode, so we can just get started. The top item in our list is highlighted, and its details are displayed below. First, you select the NDC of the item you're dispensing. If you have more than one option in stock, select your choice from the list. Then, enter the lot number of the drug. Using a barcode scanner here can save a lot of time. Confirm that you are the user that's dispensing the drug. Then, check the dose being dispensed, and choose where you're dispensing it to. Now you can click to print a label for the medication, and finally dispense it. Looking back to the top of the screen, you can see that the completed item has been removed from the queue, and the next item is automatically highlighted. If you only have one option of the drug in stock, it'll be populated automatically for you in the NDC field. And if the prescription is for more than one dose, they will all be listed, giving you the option to dispense all of them at once, or as many as you decide. You can check the inventory up top to be sure that you have enough. I'll finish these by choosing a destination, confirming the lot number, dispensing user, date and time dispensed, and dispensing them. That wraps up our introduction to the pharmacy module. With the concepts covered in this video, you should have a basic understanding of how to manage drug definitions, review prescriptions, and dispense medications. Thanks for joining us.